When I decided about the project, I wanted it to be something that was a decent volume of running. It had to be at least 500 Ks, and it had to be at least 10 to 12 outings, 50K each. It was really important to cover the diversity of the Otways in different locations and be able to explore a bit more in the future. It's really important to understand that ultra runners, even if you're in a race or you're just exploring, you're dealing with in chunks of 50 kilometers. 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers, 100 miles, 200 kilometers, 200 miles. It's important for people to appreciate the sheer volume of how much you're running. So when you're doing that, particularly in a place like the Otways, where you get the trees, the birds, the expansive views and stuff, it makes it significantly more palatable when you're in that type of environment than, say, maybe trying something like this just on a treadmill or on a track. To me, it doesn't allow the runner to connect to a destination. I'd always spent time camping or driving the Otways, going to the beach in the Otways, but I never looked at it as a location to start documenting and running it. I mean, cyclists know and love the Otways, obviously campers, hikers, but I wanted to pay homage to running in the Otways. So that was the motivation. The second thing was more about, can your body really stand up to the volume of running? So in between each 50K took place on a Saturday, and in between that, I ran roughly about 150 Ks during the week. So the training and then the run, the training and then the run, and that cycle. So that challenge was a decent challenge, and I'm very happy that I got through it. There are some times, in particular, the loop running is very mentally taxing, whereas point to point is probably my favorite. When you're exploring something, I like the fact that every step you take, you're getting closer to the point of destination. I like adding that up. And so for me, I'm not the world's fastest runner, but I got a decent pace. Each of the 50K outings is probably just on or just under 5 hours. To do that point to point, the different terrain and the different locations and stuff like that was really a challenge that I really wanted to do. I was happy that I could get through it. Yeah, Lauren?
Yeah.
Up to Winch. Okay, so that was the first one.
Yep.
Then I did a number of them around here. Recent one I did was Anglesey. I did Gum Flats Road.
Yep.
Coming through, and then back up to Winch. Taking the exploration point, I knew that I wanted it to be big, and I didn't know, to be honest, whether I was going to be able to do the number of 50Ks that I had stacked up. So the best way to do that was to go out big. So I selected Lorne first. And so I knew that if I was going to get through that, I could pretty much work my way through any of the other planned stages. But if I couldn't get through that, at least the project would have ended really quickly. And I would have saved a good, 12 to 15 weeks. We started at the sea and then worked our way immediately into the forest mountains, through the mountain range, and across the back of it, back down into the northern part of the Otways and into Winchelsea as a finished destination, which was brilliant. I went through a number of country roads, and you have the undulating paddocks and stuff like that. You see a lot of horses. Then you run into tree forests and lakes and stuff like that. Then you get to maybe a crest and you see a massive valley. Buna Road was a place that was really one of those tough roads, because the first 10 to 12 Ks, it's all up. Whereas 10K just constantly escalating up a hill is pretty challenging, but worth it. When I got to the top of it, not only was I was happy to take one of my interim sector breaks, I was really happy with the view because I could see the ocean from the top of Buna, which was incredible. Forest was one of those places I thought was pretty special. You have the natural forest. And then you've got, normal roads and stuff like that, and then the hills. It was just absolutely brilliant. I was able to run and see some really iconic old things. Like there's this really beautiful old bridge that I'm pretty sure you can't bring a train across it, but it's still standing. Then you see all the cattle and all the animals, the horses and the sheep and the different paddocks and stuff like that. And it's truly special. The individual places were special. The journey across them was pretty special. Yeah, is it painful? Yes. You sort of have to manage that with your training, your fitness, and your diet. And putting yourself in a situation where you're constantly in nature, the beauty just keeps changing, whether it's the leaves, or whether it's the rain, or the wind, or the sun, or the clouds. Those things are distracting in a very positive sense, and they allow you to connect to the place where you are. All right, so I probably should tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm one of 5 kids. We grew up in the South in America, so in New Orleans, and then we grew up most of our childhood, teenage years were in Los Angeles. So all my siblings, we all played sport. For me, basketball was like, the thing I wanted to be in the NBA. Never quite made it, but I did okay in basketball. But the thing that I always turned to as an escape, or just really to get a blowout, was running. Fortunately for me, I was introduced to the Santa Monica mountain range as a 13-year-old. So I didn't actually run a lot of track and field. I ran mostly trails when I started running. So I developed a real appreciation early on as a young teenager for running. I was always an endurance runner. I was never terribly fast, but I could always keep running, keep enduring. And so fast forward to, now, see it as just a normal part of my day. I run every day. The really interesting thing for me, and I think for a lot of ultra runners, is that your mental running game continues to develop. And I would honestly say that that's probably the strongest part of my running, is my mental ability to take on a task and complete that task. I think it's safe to say that, running is my passion, and I'm very fortunate to be able to still to do it. And so I would encourage anyone, if you are a runner or you're thinking about running, to try it, or whatever your passion is, surfing, kayaking, cycling, whatever it is, get out there in nature and really find your running, find your Otways. Very much hoping that distance runners would gravitate to the Otways and really adopt it as a location for challenges, for exploration, for races. And then just to be in that environment, because it is so special, and it just re-emphasizes our human connection to the earth, and the locations that are truly special and important. In closing, I would just like to say one thing. If you have not been to Australia and you are a runner out there, and I know a few of you international runners, you have got to get down under. And unequivocally, my favorite place to run in Australia is the Otways. And I know you'll love it probably as much as I do. Thank you.